Hey folks. Yesterday for me turned out to be a really great day. That reading was the yesterday's reading was very appropriate to it. And almost like some kind of karmic balance, today has been very passive, tired, quiet. And me being me, maybe I'm a bit of a fun addict. I don't know. But, I have a fun day and I'm just like, I want to do that again. Even though I know I probably need rest, right? I like to be in those kinds of states where I just keep going and going and going and I don't even acknowledge, right? I'm tired until, I'm basically falling asleep on the couch. It's very hard for me to just sit still and just like sit there and like be reflective, because I'm reflective all the time. I mean, I'm honestly like, it's funny because I think at this point in my life, I'm actually just like exhausted by how reflective I've been. And I guess I open up today's reading with that. Largely because I think something I've been thinking about recently when doing these readings is just sort of not necessarily incorporating myself, but making sure that the reading that I'm doing is sort of in alignment with something that I myself can pass on, right? Like if I'm a little bit emotionally connected to it, I think it's easier for me to tell the reading. And I think about this too because I've noticed that I do really, really good readings with people when I'm in front of somebody face to face. It's because I want to connect with that person, right? It's like there's an emotional investment. It's very difficult to do a reading or it's difficult for me to do a reading when there's no emotional investment whatsoever. I just feel like I'm just telling a story, which is what I'm doing, by the way. Like, I mean, that's what tarot reading is just telling a story based off of like what pictures come up on the cards. 10 of Swords. What a start. This is a card of often sudden endings, sometimes betrayals. Sometimes it's off, hoisting yourself on your own petard, basically. Like falling on, a better way of putting it, especially in regards to this, falling on your own sword. I mean, the first thing that comes up to me every time I see this card, I think of, the assassination of Caesar, right? And often, I mean, not often, whenever any assassination occurs, it is a direct result of the actions of the person who, brought about that sentiment. And I'm not saying this in regards to anything in particular other than to say, just, what is the psychology of that, right? What is the psychology of betrayal? I think that's a better way of putting it. I think let's lean towards that. What is the psychology of betrayal? And the person who is betrayed has set the groundwork for themselves by creating some sort of action. I mean, it's a very karmic card, 10 of Swords. I think a lot of people want to look at betrayal as like, oh, I'm a perfect victim, I didn't do anything wrong, blah, blah, blah. karma doesn't work like that. You did something, whether it was in this life or a life before, right? So, what led to Ten of Swords, this end of this cycle, though? Maybe it's not betrayal. Maybe it's just like, this is just an end of a cycle, in intelligence, in, maybe sneakiness, despair. Five of Cups. Although it's really interesting in Five of Cups because there are these two cups right here behind our mourning cloaked person. So, now I'm looking at Ten of Swords in a different light. Now that we have some further engagement in the narrative. This is like self-sabotage. This is self-sabotage in alignment with sadness. Looking at, the past and saying to yourself, I can never have this again, even though it's sitting right behind them, right? And I mean, technically, yeah, this person can never have that again, but they can have whatever this is. Five cards, five cards get a bad rap. And a lot of it is because people look at the fives as sort of like, oh, it's negative, it's change, it's negative, it's gonna like destabilize everything. And it's like, no, change is just change, right? Like, this is change too. And, need I remind you, in this card, we see the darkness beginning to fade, and we see the sunrise in the background. It alludes to what's going to come next, which is a brighter, happier tomorrow. And this is the brighter, happier tomorrow that our cloaked figure cannot seem to see right now, because they're too focused on the past and they're too focused on over what they're mourning. So like I said, I look at this Ten of Swords now as like sabotage. Self-sabotage. So now that we have kind of an idea here what's going on, what is it that Five of Cups is mourning specifically? Knight of Wands. A loss of passion. It's definitely a loss of a passion. A loss of, it could be a romantic passion. It could be a career passion. Something I've certainly been going through is like a loss of career passion. And it's interesting that it's Knight of Wands, though, because it implies that it was never stable to begin with. Because the Knight of Wands is very like erratic and just kind of all over the place and doesn't really have a fixed direction. It's like the one issue. This is like super passionate, super strong, super like powerful, intuitive, instinctive, romantic. But it just doesn't have a bullseye to hit. So now the next question I'm going to ask is in regards to these cups. What is it that Five of Cups is just not paying attention to right now? Two of Wands. I like the resonance here. We got two, right? This is on the board. This is what it looks like. Well, hold on. Flip it. Right. These cups, That knight, these cups, two of wands. So what our cloaked figure is, you know, they're too distracted by this and they're not paying attention to, you know, this new opportunity to plan for the future. To pay attention to what is actually in their hands, what they actually have control over in their lives. Because they don't have control over this anymore. This is done. There's nothing they can do about it. But this, they can do plenty with. And they have the inspiration to do something about it. So what are they going to do about it? They're going to act. Well, that's good news. Knight of Swords. Now, where Knight of Wands is super all over the place, erratic, like difficult to track, like unfocused, Knight of Swords is arguably too focused. Knight of Swords is sort of that issue of when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But Knight of Swords is extremely effective at what he does. Fast, direct, communicative, gets to the point, right? So we're going to move into a state of action. We're going to move into a state of doing something. And what are we doing? King of Swords. So this is really interesting because we've now moved from a place of intuition, inspiration, kind of a more spiritual mode, which can be argued, it's like a spiritual creative mode, but arguably it can be a little passive. Or maybe not, passive isn't the right word. It's just that there's not a certainty about where it's going. Whereas, now we're moving into swords. And swords are all about certainty. All about, right and wrong. All about, crunching the numbers, like just getting everything straightened out before you make an action. Before you, And it's like Knight of Swords to King of Swords. I look at this as acting from basic fundamental principles. Acting from knowledge that is not just internal. So like that's an issue with like wands, is like because it's intuitive, it's very difficult to explain where this guidance is coming from, where this creativity is coming from. And a lot of times it's not an issue, but looking at this reading currently, this Five of Cups seems very central to the whole reading, because this is the event, right? Like this is the end of a lot of anxiety, uncertainty, the end of a lot of question marks, right? In Ten of Swords, answers were received and they were not exactly the answers you wanted. And Five of Cups is the result of that. But then in Five of Cups, we see, oh, where's my finger going? We see the answers that were received, and then we also see the other answers that were ignored, which is a very common theme in cups, right? So whoever this person was, they found themselves in a position where they realized there were a lot of things that were out of their hands and they could not do anything about, and they weren't focused, they weren't directed, and now they're making a plan and they're getting direct. And they're communicating in a very straightforward and potentially a little bit curt way, right? Like, it's just, there's a defensiveness to King of Swords, right? That is like, I don't want to go back to here again, so I have to just be very direct in my communication. This is extremely direct communication. And what is King of Swords trying to communicate? Page of Pentacles. This is a new offer, a new opportunity. And because Five of Cups seems so central to this reading, I would say that it's a new opportunity in regards to connection. It's a new opportunity in a way of like communicating, but it has some kind of like physical aspect to it, right? So almost like, especially with Knight of Swords, I don't know, I'm looking at this and it's just like, Knight of Swords, Page of Swords. It's like talking about a new opportunity. And it's fast, right? It's like fast back and forth talking. It's like, it's almost, I almost get from this reading like a sales position. Perhaps a new job is being offered. Looking at this right now, there's a bit of a career reading going on here. End of a career. Did not feel great about the end of it. Didn't want it to happen. Things happened. There might have been some self-sabotage in the mix because you were too unfocused, not really sure what you're doing. Enthusiastic, but not really sure what you were doing. So this happened, right? Got fired, got laid off, making plans, realizing what's in your hands and what you can do about it, and taking action that is logical, right? There's kind of I think this is kind of going further into this idea of moving on from this Wands energy that is not necessarily logical. Moving towards something that's more grounded, something that's more real and accessible, but it's young. It's still beginning. And yeah, what is the nature of this new opportunity, this new offer? Where's it going? So Five of Pentacles. This is a card of abandonment, loss. Once again, 5 cards being a card of change. So it's a change in resources. I see, so to me what I'm looking at is like, Page of Pentacles is offering a way out of this loss. Right? Like these two cards are resonant. This is like end of the job, Ain't got no work no more. No money. Having to, move out of your house or your apartment or whatever the situation is. So Page of Pentacles is offering a way out. So yeah, this really does feel like a career reading to me right now. Well, that's great and all, right? Like, that's great what Page of Pentacles is offering. Is it a good offer? I guess that's like my final question, right? Is this a good offer? Should you take it? Yes. Yes, it's a really good one. All right, reading's over. I love it when that happens. Yeah, world card. So that's like, this is like, you're good for the next cycle. And the world also implies like fulfillment, like a big time fulfillment. So if if you've received a career opportunity in the recent past, I was going to say in the recent future, I don't know, in the recent past, this seems like this bears very well for it. Because this reading, something I really like about this reading, begins with the end of a chapter, opens with the completion of something really great, right? Like something that is like life-changing. So that's what I got for y'all. That's the reading. I hope you have a great rest of your day and good luck on your new career. And if you enjoyed this reading, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Leave a comment. Let me know how your new career's going. Bye.